Oh, really? Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. Listen, I see we already got one viewer on, which I am super excited about that. All the numbers is going up. We already at two viewers. I just want to say that I'm excited to be on here with you guys tonight. Look, it's a lot going on, but I'm glad to show up at the Healing Clinic tonight and be on with you guys and bring my friend back on tonight and just do so many amazing things. I do not take it lightly for all of you guys that are that support me, that stay tuned, that tune in, and y'all got to be looking for me just to get on. And we already at three viewers. I ask that you like and share with someone about the Healing Clinic. If you've listened to us in the past, you already know we come on here, we love God, we go crack a joke, but we gonna be raw and uncut about whatever that experience is. Hey Tam, hey Chardell, thank you guys for coming on with us tonight. Look, I'm excited. Like I'm always excited. If you be around me, you know that I'm always geeked up. I came in here with a plan, with a mission tonight to have a conversation with you guys. And tonight's conversation is talking about God's love in the process, right? Nobody kind of talk about the in betweens of what be going on in life and how even though stuff be going on, how God shows up and how He loves us through the ugly stuff, through the darkness, through our trials and through our tribulations. Some people they might see where we start, they might see where we end, but people really don't know about the in between. So tonight, my friend Jeri is coming on, and we go talk like we talk on like we always talking on the phone. And so tonight, you guys get to kind of get a ear. You know how people will say, I would love to be the fly on the wall. Tonight, you get to be the fly on the wall. You get to be able to come in and join the dialogue. You get to come in and be a part. You get to come in and hear about our journeys, about what we've been through. And I thank God that we've been able to do it together. It is so interesting. Before I bring Jeri in, it's a couple of things I want to remind you guys to follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram. We are live on Instagram now. Y'all know I'm gonna keep making that announcement because we doing something new on here. So we are live on all those platforms, and we want to touch people. We want to encourage people. We want to let people know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but yet there is a light in the tunnel. Why? Because the light is in us. And though we travel through darkness and though we go through things, we have to remember that we are the light. And so that is what we come here to do, to always encourage, always to uplift, but definitely be raw and transparent. I wanted to share something with y'all. So I made a post. I don't know how many people actually saw the post because it was kind of long. And I know people be like, I ain't about to read all of that. But I definitely know that the Lord uses this platform for me as a testament to his goodness. And so last week on the Healing Clinic, I decided not to get on Facebook or YouTube or any of those things. I just wanted to get on Blog Talk Radio because that's where it was all birthed when I did the free talk radio years ago. So you guys, I got on there and I just flowed like I always tend to do, like just let the Lord use me. And I began to give like shout outs to people and stuff like that. And I began to reminisce about when I was on the show, like different testimonies. And so it was this one particular guy. I remember years ago, I didn't remember his name, but I do remember how adamant he was about being on my show. Or he would call in, he would talk to me, and I knew he was an older Caucasian guy. And so I brought him up on the radio show last week, y'all, not knowing that the man was listening. Like he listened to me years ago. It probably was like 2019 when he called in and he was talking to me and he was telling me how his wife had passed away. It was so comforting. Now, me just Wi-Fi issues. Okay. It was just me on there talking, and the guy was trying to call in. He shared with the person that handled like our switchboard, and he was saying how he has been sitting and he's been waiting for me to appear. Now he realized that the show wasn't the same thing, but he remembered my face from the flyer. And y'all, he was trying to call in last week, and we was down to like 3 minutes on the show. And he just wanted to remind me how I had been a blessing to him, all those times where I would listen to him when he would call in, and all of the times that I got on the show and encouraged. And you probably be like, Browniesha, what are you like? Where are you going with this? And I'm hoping that you guys can read between the lines, that I'm trying to encourage somebody is that you keep the path in which God has called you to. You remain on the path even when it don't look like the way you want it to look. It don't feel like it, because I know that's been my story and my testimony. Things be looking crazy, things be looking strange, but all I can do is trust that God is with me. All I can do is trust that I'm doing what God told me to do. And it really blessed me that 2019, that was like over 5 years ago, when this man was listening to the show. And I took a break, and he said he was hoping that the show came back on, and when he saw it, he was excited, and I didn't know he was listening. Had I not shared the testimony about him being a widower, and he called in like, that's me who she's talking about. And I found out that his name is David, and I also found out that he's in New York. Y'all know I'm in Cali, and you mean to tell me I got a listener way in New York that's been hoping and praying that I come back on here? So I wanted to make sure that I share that. It was really pressed upon my heart to come in sharing it. I don't know who it is going to encourage. I hope it encourage all of us, because I know we all are on a journey, and we are striving to do the things of God. And sometimes it look rough, sometimes it get rough. Sometimes you see the light, sometimes you don't see the light. But the Bible says that we are to walk by faith and not by sight. And I thank God that if there have been some seasons where I might not necessarily want it to, but I couldn't do nothing but tap into my faith and do that. And me tapping into my faith and obeying God has been a blessing to someone that I may never meet. That will be the same for you. You tapping into your faith, obeying God, you may bless somebody that you may never get to meet. But that is the intention in the plan of God, right? For us to be one helpers to another, for us to be disciples. And so I'm on here tonight. It might seem like I did a little preach on y'all, but y'all be all right. Y'all be all right. We 24 hours shy of Sunday, so you will be all right. And so I thank each and every one of you guys for coming on. I am about to bring my girl Jeri on. And I'm telling y'all about to be the fly on the wall to listen to our conversation. We go be raw and we go be uncut, and we're gonna share how God has kept us. Again, this has been a thing that me and Jeri has done together. And if I can share, even before bringing her on, I initially met her through another friend, and I wouldn't have thought in a million years meet that Jeri is my dog, y'all. Like, she's my dog. She is my diary. She is a whole lot of stuff. She will bump me. She'll check me. She'll love them. She's so many different things to me, and I honestly thank God for her. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring Miss Jeri to the stage. Hi, girl. Oh, look it. Baby got the hat on. Baby got the hat on. I don't know what you're trying to get on here and do. We coming on here to talk about God. So I don't know what you're trying to come on here and do. Because we came here to talk about the Lord. Talk about this Lord. The Lord on this good Sunday. And y'all, she's dressed up. Ain't nothing like getting dressed up for the Lord, huh? Like,
yes, hey, listen.
Getting dressed up for the Lord.
We like it too.
Like, for real. This show is not about that. But when you can be prepared and you can doll yourself up, not just for yourself, but for God, that's just a preparation for whatever is coming down the line.
Yes.
And we might have to slide that conversation in here. I'm an expert. Chardell and Sam and all of y'all that's on here, because it says we have 5 years. Y'all kind of tap in and let us know who here. And if you're not familiar with how we act, this is how we act. Like, this is really how we act.
It's the truth.
We start off our conversations. If it's not me complaining, it's Jeri complaining. And then we complain, and then we go into what God said, and then we go in. We normally would sing songs. Huh? Remember how we always come up with a song? We'll always come up with a song in the midst of the going throughs. We just hum it through. Or sometimes we use secular music.
That's right.
Girl. Right? Because we going to be transparent. But no, so tonight, like I said, you guys are gonna come in. We just gonna have the conversation like we normally do. But before we get
Mhm.
started, Jerry, I know you've been on here a couple of times, and listen, why my mama go put the thug is tapping in? Did y'all see that picture that I posted on my mama? I needed to clarify that that was her and not me because she had a red bandana on her head, y'all. So I was like, y'all, I told y'all my mama was a thug because if I didn't know no better, I thought it was me in the photo. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no, let
man.
me clarify that that is not me, that is my mom. So shout out to my mom for getting
Hey, Miss
on
Barbara.
for getting on here tonight. And hey, Danisha. So before we dive into our conversation, I know you've been
Mhm.
on. This woman threw up the beat, but I know you've been on. I know you've been on. Many many times. But I really wanted you to kind of reintroduce yourself, the
Okay.
things that you're doing, and some stuff that you're getting ready to do, and then we can dive into the conversation.
All right, everybody. I am Jeri, Minister Jeri. People call me Mimi. I really don't like that name anymore, but hey, it is what it is. I am a single mom of three girls. I have a brand called the Single Mom Diary, and in that brand, we help a lot of single moms. I have a blog on our website. I do my TikTok videos on how to, create meals on a budget, one meal, one casserole meals, one pan meal, all those different things. And then the other side is I am a spiritual adjudicator, and that's a lot of spiritual coaching and guiding. I do a lot of courtroom of heaven, a lot of mentoring for younger women, single moms, just regular moms, my friends. And I do a lot of worship, singing worship, praise and worship, leading worship. That's been the thing that I've done forever, as long as I can remember. And that platform has taken me many places. I use my worship and my worship platform to go all over, and I'm sung many places. And what's coming up is July 26th. I'm having a worship experience called the Outpouring, and it is our very first one. There will be many more, but this is the very first one. The thing that God told me to do for the unchurched, for those who need God, but not in a way where it's like on Sunday morning and it's all the logistics and the politics of church. Like, you just come and you get what you need. You can be yourself, come in the atmosphere, and you're welcomed, and it's just pouring out. And then October 5th and 6th is the Outpouring Women Conference, the very first conference I am doing. And I'm really excited about what is coming. When you do things in the ministry, you get excited, and then it's like a little bit of nervousness too, because man, I'm very social, but the other side of me, I'm very shy, and people don't know that about me. Like, I'd rather just like sit in the back and be cool and laugh and talk, and I'll be in the front when I want to. But this is really pulling me forward. As me and Browniesha have talked many times, like, it's our turn and it's our time, and God has really set us up to be a voice for the people, the voice for the unchurched. All my friends and my family members and those who didn't have a voice, for myself, people who were like me. So that's me. That's what's coming up, and I hope that all who heard will be there. Tap into us. We'll be live as well, and you can be in the building.
Um, she says for the unchurched. Yeah, I want y'all to know. I mean, I was talking about that. My mom's a thug, but Jeri is kind of like a thug too. But she loves the Lord. She loves the Lord, right?
Yes.
She more Converse way more than I do.
Yes.
But she loved the Lord. She definitely loved the Lord. And so I told y'all like this is gonna be like our conversation, and we really, really clown. And again, I just really thank God that He had an appointed time that He brought us
Mhm.
together. And Jerry, we honestly have been we've been on this journey together where I've huffed and puffed on your phone, you've huffed and puffed
Yes.
on mine. And we can honestly say that we've we've come a long way. We've come a long way
Mhm.
within the last 4 years. And I know that this conversation came
Yes.
from being on the phone with you one day and we was talking about something and you was like, but nobody really shares. Like nobody shares this part,
Mhm.
part of going through, right? And so that's why I told you, I said, I was just sitting there one day and it just dropped in my spirit, like what you said, like nobody really shares the behind the scenes. Nobody talks about the how it started off, how it looked, and where you are now. And I
Mm-hmm.
know for us, both of us, we saw each other in some very rough seasons, but we
Yes.
also saw God love us through that stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's tonight where we're calling, the topic of the show is God loving you through the process. And I
Yes.
think it's very important for us to share that how God will love you through being processed because
Mm-hmm.
we always look at like God love like we act like we have to work for his love number one.
Yeah.
And then it's like we have to be this clint up individual for God to love us. And I know that it was sometimes where I was a one step from a booking number, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that God loved me. Uh, you know,
Yes.
and God loved me. So I wanted to bring this conversation public because I know that there are people that are struggling. I know that there
Mm.
are people that are going through. Too often we make it look like there is a look. And there were times where, you know, if church gotta look, we to look like it.
Yeah.
If there was a look, because it's a we always talk about oh, I don't know who said it because I be encouraged by many different posts. Somebody was like, how are you saying you look like the world? Like it was Lovey.
Yeah.
Lovey was talking about how people talk about they look like the world. He said there's only one kind of Gucci store that like he began to just name different
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Like because I might have on the same attire that someone that don't know God. But even in that opportunity, that is an opportunity for me to have a conversation with that person to convert them over to Christ, not be like, "Ooh, look at her." You know what I'm saying? So there has been times where I believe that if you want to be honest, because I'm gonna be honest, where if church really, really had a look that I didn't look like that because I was
No.
angry, I was bitter, I was broke down, and it has taken God to love me through the bitter, the ugly,
Mm-hmm.
and the broke down. And
Yes.
so one of our favorite things was y'all, and we'll share with you. I remember it probably was like 4 years ago. Remember we were sitting and I know it has to be in Exodus, but God literally spoke and said that the enemy you see
See
today,
today.
you will
You
see no
see
more.
no more.
We kept telling each other like the enemy you see today,
Yeah.
you won't see no more. And can you attest that we don't see that
We
same?
don't see that. No. Woo,
We don't
buddy.
see. I mean, so I ain't gonna just talk. I mean, I want to give you the opportunity to share, some of the things that we literally had to have those phone conversations
Yeah.
about. I think you shared on the previous show, y'all. This is funny. I didn't even know how mad Jeri was at me one time. I didn't know how mad she was at me one time because even though she's my friend and I love her, if God said it, God said it, and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
change my mind because you're my friend. Like if God told me to say it to you, I'm just
That's
gonna say it to
it.
you. If you're not gonna be mad, if you're gonna be mad at me, I'll take you being mad at me for a little while. But once I want you to get what God said. I mean, I'll be mad at her too sometimes.
Yeah.
These days, but it's okay. But it's definitely okay. So I want to give you the opportunity of sharing what it's been like though behind the scenes.
Um, it's been so I was writing some stuff down as I was praying. It's been ugly, right? Like, and so I don't want to offend nobody because ugly is like a term people use for how people look, and so I don't want to offend nobody, but it's ugly. There are some days when I was really in like the thick of things, like really getting out of things and moving to the next phase of being healed, where I could wear no lashes. Y'all, my hair wasn't done. I was just wearing straight up. And let me say this: I hate sweatpants. I have so many sweatpants because that's all that I could wear. I didn't really feel like anything. I wasn't always like ready to be pretty. And I am a girly girl, but like she said, I have my thug side where I will wear a dress, lashes, hats, everything, and have my chucks on, have my J's on. But there were moments where I couldn't do any of that because it was constant crying. My body was hurting. Like trauma, when you come out of things and you're healing, it hurts. My fingers would hurt, my back would hurt. I would have headaches. It was so disgusting to me. And one day, once I had got to the new place, right? Like it was like, it feels weird here. It feels different. And I was looking in the mirror and I was like, why you still look like the old though? You still look like you have a glow. You feel different on the inside, but you're still clothing yourself in those things. So I had to start going through my closet or just buying girly shirts to go with my sweats and match it up with like a jacket or something else to put it on to make myself look like where I am now. And no one talks about that. You see how, okay, I was broken down and I was this, I was that, and then then all this glory, and it's like, wait, what happened in between? It wasn't just turn the switch off and on. Like, no, it's not like that. There are moments where I was in my bed, I'll be crying, and Browniesha would have to remind me, like, listen, you got to get up. You cannot let that tear you down. And I take care of my girl. So it would be where I get up, I'll make breakfast, I clean my home, and then I go right back into my bed, crawl under the covers, or just sit in my living room crying. And I didn't really get a chance to, I wouldn't say enjoy the healing, but at that moment, I wasn't enjoying it, right? I wasn't looking at, hey, I was at 1, now I'm at 5. But between 2 to 4, I was just like closed out, just nasty, just like, I don't care. I was bitter about it until I got to 5. And I was like, wow. And that's when we would have the conversations like, this is what I went to. I would want to go back. And God kept pressing on my heart to share. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I was in homosexuality. I was in a relationship with a woman for about, man, I want to say it was almost like 17 years. And I came out of that relationship. And so in that relationship, when I got in, it was so many things that was broken within Jeri, the reason why I got in, right? And so then I'm in a relationship, and one key thing I will say about me through all the transitions of life, I've never let go of God's hand. I never blamed him for anything I was going through, not once. So once I got out of the relationship and I saw what God was doing, because I was so used to a thing, I went right back into another same-sex relationship, but my mental was different, right? So I'm used to doing this, but I'm like, it's familiar. It's a habit to me now. So I'm used to doing this, but my mind is different. So when things are like crazy, things are going nuts, like I'm just like, what is this? But I'm not noticing that, Jeri, you've healed. That part of Jeri has healed. So the things that you were seeking in these relationships, you no longer need. But because you're so familiar and you're so used to doing it this way and been broken for so long. I mean, I was broken when I was 18. So that's so many years of being in something. So when I got into this new place, I was just like, this don't feel right. This don't feel, and then I started to lose friends. Then I started to see my family go away. So a lot of things start to break off. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I see what's going on. So now I have to come out of that. So when you're healing, there are a lot of things that you're used to being. There's a lot of things that you do. Now, that may not be your thing. It may be something else. I'm just giving what my thing was. Once I was healed and once I really stepped into who I'm supposed to be, I was able to live the life that God has called me to live, right? But in that, he loved me no matter what. I never went without. God still would speak to me. I still would see him. And that goes to speak to those that maybe you are struggling with that. I don't know who's going to watch today. So I don't know why he wanted me to share, but here we go. If that's something that you're struggling with, God loves you in that, because I didn't want to do it no more. I didn't want to live that way, but I was so used to living that way. I just did it. So if that's where you are, really sit with yourself and be okay with coming out. It's the hardest thing to do, to separate yourself from anything in life. It's hard to separate yourself from just family members. But when you're able to separate yourself and you're able to heal, you will see the broken you and then you'll see the new you. So no longer, I'm encouraging you to not struggle with those thoughts anymore. That was the hardest thing for me because my friendships were affected with that. But God loved me. And as soon as I made the decision, so many things opened up for me. Like, it was the pandemic and I was able to move in a pandemic without a job, y'all. Like, without a job, without anything. God opened up the way for me to move. You know, He opened up the way for me to front. I had nothing at my house. Everything in my house was brand new. I said, I'm not taking nothing, God. You called me here. I'm not taking nothing that was old. Everything that came in my house is brand new. So that's just my testament to tell you that when you are in the will of God, when you're allowing Him to love you, because that's another thing too. We don't let Him love us. We be like, nah, like, I'm not ready. I'm not clean. I'm not perfect. I let Him love me. I let Him love me right where I was. And it got me to where I am now. And I'm still a work in progress though. It's not done. I'm not there yet. You know, that's something that we always have to work through when you are a Christian. Your salvation, you work your salvation out every day. But healing, that was a major part for me. And that was my coping. When I came out of that, man, his love was so much stronger, but I felt it the whole way through. The whole way through.
Listen, man, I was sitting here and I'm really like just reflecting on our journeys. Even I will say that we had like a hunger and a thirst after God too, because remember we would be on yeah, we was on Clubhouse. We
Clubhouse.
used to be in Clubhouse rooms, like literally it was it might sound crazy, but it was really trying to find the fix because it was like God, something gotta work. And I feel like we
Mm-hmm.
were really one another soundboard because there were times where I was battling rejection really bad. I think that's one of like the key things that I had to keep bumping my head up against was just being rejected. And I was getting so frustrated because I used to
Yeah.
be like, what is wrong with these people, right? And we literally had a conversation earlier, and I was just like, I accept it now because it
Yeah.
ain't even me that the people rejecting; it's the God in me. So now I get it, but I did not always get that, and it had to take for God to speak to me for me to even understand. Like Browniesha, he was like, "It's not you. It is not you." And then I'm not even saying that to even sound self righteous because I always made myself the problem. I always said it had to be me and it wasn't them. And God was like, "It's not you." And then I'm like, "But then what is it?" And it was because I was truly allowing God to show up in my life. And I didn't even really know that that's what even what I was doing. I mean,
Mm.
Jeri, we'll be on the phone sometimes and I would call you and I'll be saying, and you'll be like, so you just talked yourself through it. And I was like,
The
oh,
whole
you did?
thing.
Like all the time, right? I'll call
Yes.
and I'll be hot as fish grease. But I
Yep.
guess by the time we in the car, I'll be like, oh, like, okay. And I even can say that even let me show you another way that God shows his love by even sending the people because you
Yeah.
can't have conversations with everybody. And I honestly can say that we have been um, the safe place for one another.
Yes.
We've been a safe place for one another. I can say that even becoming a better friend, I know
Yes.
that God used our friendship for me to even learn how to like navigate through it. Like, what do you do? What do you don't do? What conversations do you need to have? And we had those conversations. And so to think back to when we first started, how uh
Mm-hmm.
I can be honest because I mean, this was the thing that was sticking out to me. And I was like, I really don't want to talk about that part.
See, me neither. There
But
it is.
the fact that you was being, transparent about your journey, because of my rejection and my brokenness, I found, that broken relationship that I was in. That girl,
Mhm.
for the life of me, I was like the thing just got like it just have to work, Lord. It just have
Yes.
to work. And I kept trying to make it work and I kept trying to make it work. And it seemed like the more I tried to make it work, the more it was breaking me down. And I was just like,
Mhm.
Lord, like it came to a point to I surrendered. And I
Yeah.
remember telling you, God told me, He said, I know the way in which you take, and when you come out, you'll be as pure gold. And I even remember telling God, like, well, you could easily remove me out of this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why you ain't doing it? Like, you could just move, like, you're God. You could just snatch me out of this. And he was like, no, because you need to speak up for yourself. You need to tell people that you don't like how they treat you. You need to tell people that they hurt your feelings. And I'm like, well, I really don't want to do that. I would just rather leave, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, remembering me, me calling like, hey, well, I said this and I spoke up for myself. And you
Yep.
like, you would tell me like good for me. And sometimes I feel like we were in um how can I say it? Because sometimes it was like I was in a childlike state and you were
Yes.
encouraging me, and sometimes you were in a
I was
childlike
in.
state and
Right.
I was encouraging you because what really was happening was the little girl in us needed to be
Yes.
healed, you know,
Yes.
and it was and really God was using us both to encourage each other. I think we was on the phone all the time, to the time that when we stopped with on, I was like, is
What's
something
wrong with her?
right? Is something wrong, right? Because we wasn't on the phone. But I can even attest that we needed a witness. So I
Yes.
needed God needed to show you as a
Yes.
witness, like who could attest that outside of God, like Browniesha was really all of these things. Like
Yeah.
and there are other people that are on here that knew, of the broken relationship, but it was man, like, and I was
Yeah.
mad because I consider myself as a gangster. So to be broken down like that, I used to be
Yeah.
livid.
Hot.
But I understood that even in that breaking down, it was God allowing me to be broken so he could come in and he could heal me
Yeah.
and he could show me. And I could tell you that, baby, I don't like how that process was, but I am nothing compared to what I used to be. I don't think the same. I don't act the same. I
Mm-hmm.
can even but now because I'm healed, I can, what my grandma say, I can discern a joker from a
Yeah.
mile. Like I see you far from over there,
See you far from over there, baby.
and then, but it was the love of God that got me here. It was God
Mm-hmm.
loving me even when I failed Him. It was God loving me even when I made mistakes. And it was some things where I was trying to go back, like tomorrow. I was like, I might as well just go back to my old self. And I remember even one night where God told me, and I'll be honest, I had went to my ex-boyfriend. So I was like, I'm just gonna go over here because, Lord rest his soul. I was like, I'm gonna go over
Yeah.
here. And I remember God telling me, and I'm saying this. God told me, He says, I'm not condemning you. He said, but you should be tired of living like this. And that
Mm-hmm.
might sound harsh, right? But that he chastised those who he loved. And so when he told me that, I really didn't plan to go in there to do nothing wrong. But I packed up my little bag. I said, I'm gonna get out of here. Because I mean my daddy God saying he's not condemning me.
Yeah.
And
I
I
gotta
didn't
go.
feel condemned, but he's telling me like, Browniesha, you should be tired. And Browniesha
Yeah.
was tired, but there was something that I had to do. And I had to make the choice that I was go, in my language, I was go stand 10 toes down and I was go trust that my heavenly father was go bring me through as he did. Because what he says, the enemy you see today, you will see no more. And
Yes.
nigga, the stuff is not like it is not the way it like we,
No.
we I don't even know what to tell y'all. Like it's so much stuff we was battling then. There
Yes.
was so many people we had dysfunction and disconnects from. Where
Yeah.
God, you talked about friendships being removed, but let's talk about he's removed friendships and he's restored them.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
restored them. Like we went back into things not with the same mindset
That's
that we
right.
had before, and it is God's love. And so y'all, that's listening. The point of this all is to continuously to encourage, because we sometimes make it, we make that walk with Christ like it's a cakewalk. And I
Mm-mm.
sure wish when I first got saved that somebody would have been honest with me, because
Yeah.
I was thinking like I got this. Not the way that man was rumbling and shaking me upside down and all around. I was like,
Yep.
I don't have this, because it sounds beautiful. Like you got Jesus, he's our Lord and Savior. And so you think like I'm winning, and we are, but there is a battle that you have to
Yes.
go through, that you
Yes.
get to be the only person you gonna be able to depend on is him. You can't
Yes.
try to do nothing else, because even if you try to do the other stuff, it's not like what's supposed to come out of that. It won't. And so I was like, we got to be upfront. You
Yes.
said like what people never really get to hear this part, because we was like,
No.
we really had to sit there and was like, oh my God, like
Mm-hmm.
it's not as bad. It's not like what it used to be. The
No.
I don't even know if you want to even share this part, but I was thinking one day me and you was hanging out. You was like, "Well, I don't do that no more." I said, "Well, when did that happen?" Wait a minute. I said, "You don't do that no more." I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, that was that was a journey too, because I remember, I think it was even my 40th birthday that I was
mm,
celebrating, and
mm-hmm,
it was that was just like 2 years ago. That was still a healing place for me, like healing
Mhm.
broken places for me. And then in that, I can even say in that moment, there was like disappointment, there was rejection, there was a hurt. And then there was a celebration all in one day, right? And even leading up to that day. And I was towed up, y'all. I mean, towed down. I threw up at the end of the night. And then, but because I was already like in my journey, when I woke up the next day, it was such a like a condemning, like I felt I was condemning myself though, right? I was putting it on myself. And in that same moment, like it was within seconds, God let me know. He was like, it's a process. This is a process, Jeri. And so after that, I just kind of slowed down. And then I didn't, I would drink a lot, y'all. Like I would drink that. I used to like my friends, I used to drink them under the table. They'd be like, you still drink? I'm still drinking. But nothing would happen. So then he would start to remind me that I'm not gonna let it get you where you think you want to get. So now I'm wasting money on something I don't need to do anymore. Okay, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna slow down. So then, which is also my healing process. I had my knees done, my surgery. So leading up to that, I couldn't drink. Like you have to like separate yourself. And it wasn't hard until it came to like celebrations and hanging out. But even in that, when I would go, I was worried about my family, right? Like what they would say if I didn't want to drink. And when I was like, no, I don't want to drink, all of them was like, dang, it's about time. We was waiting for you to not be able to drink. And I was just like, wait, what? Like this is what you're not supposed to do. Like they noticed that I'm called, right? They noticed that I'm separate and that this is not what I'm supposed to do. But I was using it as a place to like numb myself. I was using it as feeling like I needed that to enjoy the party. I needed that to enjoy wherever I go. And so now, and I still go. I go to concerts. I go hang out with my friends. I still go with my family, hang out. They do mocktails. They set it up for me, or if we're gonna go out to a concert and they're like, okay, we're on the way. Hey, we found these mocktails at Target. It's the accepting part. I think I'm gonna cry. It's the accepting part in the healing journey that my family and my friends played a part of, and not wanting it and not desiring it. And again, I say that to say if that's what you're struggling with, and because we do things when we don't want to do things, right? And that was me. I was a people pleaser. I grew up feeling like I had to please everyone, even down to my parents. So I felt I had to always do something just so to appease others. And so when God removed that from me and healed that broken part of Jeri, that 5-year-old little girl who was rejected, who was hurt, I no longer felt I needed to please someone else just to have a drink, just to, satisfy that. So when you feel like you don't want to do that no more, just don't do it. And it's such a great feeling, right? Now, if we want to go to like the science side of it, there's so much clarity that comes from that. There's no more brain fog. You don't feel fatigue. Your body is supposed to hold a certain percentage of water. When you drink so much alcohol, the alcohol takes over the water. And so then your body just feels like, and your skin looks crazy. So I have noticed so many, like this journey has been from my heart, my spiritual walk, my physical body, and it has got me through. But don't listen, y'all, it ain't easy, because there are some times where I've had like a bottle of wine in the refrigerator and it's what we call a trigger come, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just go ahead and take this bath. I'm gonna go ahead and just drink this whole bottle of wine to relax. And it's like, no. And he told me this is recent, y'all. I'm not talking about like a year ago. I'm talking about what was the recent situation, like 2-3 weeks ago. I'm like, I'm gonna just do it. He's like, no, I can take it, right? I can come in because I love you, because I am God, and I'll just finish it, right? Bam, done. But you have to go through this. You have to face this, because this is Jeri conquering fear. Fear was another part of my healing journey. I was always fearful of what someone would say, what they would do, retaliation. And God had to make me, y'all, go through this process from like June all the way up until last week, the beginning of June, y'all. I'm talking about like June 6th, all the way. and I had to feel the feels. I had to face the things in front of me. I had to deal with it. I had to. But in that moment, it don't always feel good. And okay, I'm gonna just drink this wine. Okay, hey, I'm gonna just pop this gummy. Hey, you know what? And even because I had my knees done, I got some Norco. I'm just being real with y'all. I got some Norco on the shelf, and I'm like, hey, let me just give me a Sprite, take this Norco, give me a real little buzz right quick, and go to sleep. And he was like, no, that's not what I want for you. I need you to face this and overcome the fear. And in that process of feeling, crying, being upset with him, but talking to him and allowing him to love me through that, it was a book that I said, I have never seen this book before. It was released in 2017. It was on my feed. I said, I bought the book because, listen, I have to overcome fear. And I can say the day that I had to face the fear, like I'm in here. I'm in here. There was such a peace. There was such an understanding. Oh, God is so good. There was such a clarity that came. But if I didn't go through the process, what would that have been like? You know what I mean? What would I have? What would I have done? I don't know what I've done. But you have to feel the feels, y'all. You have to feel the feels. But in the end, even today, a smile on my face. I'm happy. He loved me. Browniesha already spoke it to me, and I kept that too. So when she talked about friends, that is a good thing, especially friends who are connected with God, right? Who hear the God, who I respect and I acknowledge the God in her. She will call me, we will talk crap, we will laugh, and then in that same conversation, she'd be like, okay, so I was just waiting before we got the phone. God said, da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay. But she had already reminded me. So I kept that too. So it's the promises of God. But if I didn't have this relationship with her and he didn't love me enough to tell her to tell me, then what? You know what I'm saying? So it all goes back to love, y'all. Like it breaks so many things. Love conquers all. And it's not like, oh, he conquers the relationship with my family. No, he conquers the things that we face in the dark, the things that we don't talk about, the lifestyles we live, the things that we're attached to, the habits, the things that we go to. You talked about running to your ex, like the things that the things that we don't talk about, God covers and loves us in that. And so that's what I want. If you guys don't take anything away from what I said today, take away that God will love you through the ugly. As my 2-year say, you ugly. He will love you through the ugly and get you all the way through. You need that. And that really satisfies my heart. And so my song has been gratitude. Like all I can do is throw up my hands and praise you again and again and again. And the only word I have to say is hallelujah.
That's it. And listen, you said a bunch, and we want to say thank you to all of us. Jeri, why is Jason on here? Jason, Jason got on here. Jason, we was telling them about them songs. We
Yeah,
used to
no
be coming
clubhouse
up.
for
Yeah, Jason would be on the phone with us, and we'll just be coming up with them songs too. I think he the one started us to doing that
he
though.
did start the songs. He did.
He started us to
Hey
listening to the
Pop.
song.
Hey Jason.
So just shout out to everyone that's on here. It was something you said. I remember when you were talking about your birthday, and the night when you was just a mess. And I remember because you gave me that position to kind of like check you. I was on that phone, I was digging a hole in your tail. And you was like, well, I don't care and I'm gonna do what I want to do. And so I sat there and it was so interesting. And the Lord was like, don't even get mad. Just go on and let her get this out because it's a process. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let her talk her mess tonight. I'm gonna let her do what she do. I said, but she better be glad because I was like, I have to whoop her tail. But it was like, and I promise, I had to whoop her tail because you was on the phone like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I was like, okay, you gonna do what you want to do.
Mhm.
Like, I ain't scared of you. And so to hear, like, even you say about that night until now, I even thank God um that I was able to hear them in that moment. Because sometimes in friendships you can get offended and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she doing this," but it was nothing like that. And I don't know, I probably didn't been on the phone popping off too because I know I didn't had some. It's been hard, like the being
Yes.
pressed down and the being like literally like rocks, like you've been
Yeah.
rocked. Your
Yeah.
whole world have been rocked. You will believe that it's gonna be one thing, and baby, you look up and it's a totally another thing. Or if it's an attack after attack, and it's like
Yeah.
can I even breathe? Like, it's I'm really trying. It's funny because I'm trying to think back to actually some of the things that I've experienced, but I can't even resonate with the stuff. Like I was like, I
Mm.
don't even know. It was so much stuff, but I can't really remember. I mean, I remember one day when I was calling your phone, and I think I probably was breathing and not speaking.
Yep. And are you there, caller? Are you there?
I was breathing and I was not speaking. It was, I mean, let's even
Yeah.
talk about and I'll say this. I'll say this and then I'm gonna say we can talk about how we was even able to even understand our gifting through one
Yes.
another. Like
Yes.
because there was a lot of stuff I was like, what is this? Like
Yes.
we've come so far and God
Mhm.
really has used has developed us again among one another's. But it was another thing that you shared about you were saying how now around your family, how they create the mocktails and stuff like that. And to honor the fact that this is something that you don't do no more. And so even when you were talking, what the Lord dropped in my spirit was that was the very space that the enemy wanted to keep you in bondage from, because that's the very space you can bring liberty to. So the
Yeah.
longer he keeps you there, the longer he keep you, who's the leader, who's the one that God has set apart, one that God has called to bring the people out, to set the captives free. The longer he keep you there, then the longer
Yeah.
he keep them there. It's like, so
Mhm.
yeah, I'm go keep having all these problems come so you can keep drinking your pain away, drinking your
Yes.
bitterness away, because you drinking it away from your own personal stuff, but the enemy using your personal stuff for your family to look in on and be like, well,
Yep.
if Mimi not go give it up, then
Yep.
I ain't got to
I ain't
give it
gonna
up
get. That's
either.
right.
And
That's
so
right.
even now, it's like I even thought about how when we did a safe place, what was that? And I was like, hey, I knew that they hadn't seen me in the element of
Yeah.
ministry or nothing like that. They'll see me like just at a birthday party or something.
Yeah.
And then even how they was receptive and their life was changed. And I was like, oh, okay, God.
Mhm.
Like, it really blessed my heart. And
Yeah.
so I just say, I wanted to encourage you that even knowing that that's why the enemy kept allowing all those different things and kept, oh, ma'am,
Kept.
like it was, you got to block 15 people, you got to block their email, you got to do all this. And you just, like, it was just so much. Like, y'all, we trying not to dig too deep, but it was just
Right, but
so
hey.
much that we had to go through and bounce through. And it was like God was like pushing us through and using each other
Yeah.
to be a reminder. But let's talk about um before we get, because I want to make sure I read what other people are saying.
Okay.
Tam said I have my workout video on mute and listening to this. This is so good. Thanks for your transparency. We need this.
Mhm.
Believers need to know that we have our challenges as well. It's not an easy walk. It is not.
It's not.
It's definitely not an easy walk. But let's talk about how even we become aware of our giftings, of
Mhm.
or even being accepted to that, that God is using us prophetically. One of the things
Mhm.
now, girl, what we have dreams and we be like, girl, I
Yeah.
need to talk to you about this and I need to talk to you about that. And it's like, are
Yeah.
you serious, Lord? Like
Mhm.
literally keeping us using each one of another to keep our cups full, like
Yes.
encouraging sermons, or if it's like the Lord has said something to me, God is like share it with you. Like let's
Mhm.
talk about that, because we talked about the ugly part and how he brought us through, but now because
Yes.
he's removed the enemy out of the way, and that enemy of bad relationships, because we both dealt with it,
Yep.
rejection, all, because we both dealt with it. Now that he's moved those things out of the way, and those people, if we, some of them we don't even have to see anymore. We don't have to see
Thank you,
anymore.
Jesus.
But even if we did, I believe that the Lord has built us up in a way
Yes.
that we would know how to handle them without being tempted to go back down that path. Like
Yeah.
we are much stronger in that area. But let's talk about how you talked about you're doing the conferences and things, but that came through the healing process for you to even step
Yes.
into that, like knowing who you are. You had to
Yes.
come to know who Jeri was to say, wait, God does want to use me to do,
Mhm.
outpour. God does want to use me to minister to single moms, because I don't know if you want to share. At some point, you were even challenged that it was the fact that you had to carry, take care of your children on your own, and
Yeah.
taking it as a gift because, baby, when you be doing them cooking videos and all that, like you people, I do kind of get, I won't say offended, but I be feeling away when people tell me that Mother and Ricky looks easy because by
Oh,
no way it is.
oh no.
It may look that way, but it is nowhere near easy. And
Yeah.
so I want to be careful to say, like, you will have a truckload of snacks and all that at your home. Um, but I can't say that that's easy because you're raising three girls by
Yeah.
yourself. Because the way you set up, and then if we be honest, it's God. Like it is the Spirit of
Yes.
the Lord. But I definitely wanted us to share how we've been able to tap into the giftings of God and even being used by God. And let's be clear, we couldn't do have done that if we didn't allow God to heal us. Like we wouldn't have been able to walk in His place if, like she said, if she hadn't was giving up the drinking, she wouldn't be able to see it for being what it was. Me,
Mm-hmm.
like leaving the things of old, because I don't even know if we got time. But what came to me, um, in regards to, like, I went through something a few months ago, and um, I decided to do grief differently.
Mm-hmm.
All my life, I have put if I lost a loved one or whatever, I had to move on. And so something happened recently where my ex boyfriend passed away, and I'm talking to y'all, and I had to grieve differently. And so normally in grief, oh, I'm gonna be transparent. Normally, when I had to grieve certain things, I would use liquor. I would use sex. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would just revert back to the old hood girl. And this time it was none of that. Y'all don't try to clock it like y'all know my clock when the last time I had a drink or had sex. It's a long time ago. So mind your business. But I'm still saying that you normally I would use that for that. And I really didn't
Yeah.
this time around. I was telling God, like, I want you. I don't want
Yeah.
it. I want my vice. I want you, God. So how do I process through this with you, and I don't revert back to trying to find a bed buddy or revert
Mm-hmm.
back to the liquor? Like, Lord, how do I find you? And can I tell you, if I tapping into wanting to find God, I am so serious. It's like the Lord just opened this door, and I begin to understand more about who
Mm-hmm.
Browniesha is more than ever, how even God wants to use me. I'm even okay that I'm not even liked because of the authority I have in Christ, because I can't take it back. Ain't nothing I can do about it. Like, I don't
Yes.
even want to take it back. Like, if
Yes.
God chose to use me, who am I? And I got in trouble because He told me, "Who are you to, like, you act like I don't know what I'm doing?" And He got telling me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling Him like He don't know what He's doing because He wanted to use me. But it was huh. It was just the Him pulling me out, and even when I did mess up, Him loving me. So now that I can, I say this publicly, that I can fully walk in the authority in which Christ has given me. I will do it, and I will do it again with no shame, no hiding. And Jeri very well know, right? She used to be ducking and hiding. I'm not this person. I'm not doing that. Don't call me that. I don't want to do that. But now I'm fully accepting of who God is, and it was because God, in healing me, um, God began to show me and teach me who I am in Him and who He is
Mm-hmm.
in me. And so I want you to talk about that, because literally I feel like we came to the discovery not necessarily at the same time, but we did it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. No, it's true. Once we got out of it and went through the ugly, and got to the other side, a lot of our, I would even say, it enhanced. It was like we got like a double portion at the end of that, like because we really suffered, like we suffered through it. So when we got to the end, he was like, okay, let me slap this on you too. Let me give you a double portion of this. Oh, and you thought I was done. No, let me slap you up with this too. Like, so we became very greasy and very oily. Once we went through the process, but I feel like that's also like the benefits, right? We talk about benefits of going through things. It's we talk about working the muscle, just like when you
Yep.
go to the gym and you start off, it hurts. you don't see results, but if you keep working that muscle, you keep going, you stay the course, you're able to see the results. And then though, once, because you talked about where we are now, once you get the results you like, right, you starting to see things, there are things you have to do to stay in that place.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so it is about sharing those words that we have. Whatever songs we come across, if we're watching something. I even noticed that once I healed, Instagram kind of it does go off of what your interests are, right? All
Yes.
social media
The
patterns
algorithm.
uh, yeah, they all do. And so as you change and you start to look into things, that changes too. So I no longer am faced with what I was in for 17 years. I don't see those posts no more. I don't see a bunch of cocktails and things like these are for me. I don't see those anymore. I don't see the, you know, tall man every now and then dripping wet on my screen. Like I'm just being honest. I don't see it no more. I see a lot of encouraging things, a lot of edifying things, a lot of things to continue to build me up, a lot of things for home. Like I'm really into organized. She brought up the snacks, and for my girls, like we are on a schedule. Summertime, I just made a post too. Like my kids are tucking me in because it's summertime, and they are like happy that the schedule is broken. Like they are so happy about it. But there are things that I do. You get up, you get dressed. There are snacks in here. There is, juice. Everything is organized. And I do that one because I like to be able to let them have independence. Go there, you can get what you need. And it also shows them structure. I don't want them to get off in life and they just have their own house and it just looks like, what is happening? What is going on here? But the Lord literally showed me what to do. He was like, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that. I had both of my parents growing up. I don't know what it's like to not have my father there. So now that my daughters, it's just me and them, it's a little different. So now God had to show me how to parent as a mother to girls without a father in the home. But he's also replaced, right? He's also given them so many men that are connected to me and love me and will love them in their purity state. And so I'm so excited about what he's done in that. So in the transition, when you get through suffering, it's so much more at the end. And I remember we would have like these crazy dreams. It was like going back and forth. So then you had a book, and then I was like, check your mail. I sent you the book. And I'm like, oh my God. So then I had an ebook. So I sent you the book. So God began to speak to us in dreams, right? Prophetically. We started to have encounters with him. We started to have encounters with angels. Our gifting went to the next level. You prophesy crazy. Like she just sees things and it's like, damn. And it'd be so on point. I'll even share this. I remember she was telling me, she's like, you got a notebook. And I was like, okay. And
Oh
she was
yeah.
like, she said, the notebook is blue. And I was just like, what? The notebook is blue. And I was literally at my desk like I am now. And the notebook was sitting right there. And she was like, is it blue? I said, yeah. She said, woo, because God kept telling me it was blue. And I was like, I ain't finna tell her this notebook is blue. But literally it went to, another level. And then there was things where he was giving me these words like Hebrew words or prayers, spirits I had never even heard about, like Leviathan, Python, squid, these mammon spirits, like all these different spirits. He had connected me with someone he's also given to me in dreams. And then most recently he has given me like the habits of grace. And I'm like, what is the habits of grace? Like, what is that? And he was letting me know, like, it's my word. It's my fellowship. It's my communion. I've given you all these things. And these things is what's actually taking you, Jeri, from that broken place to now this glory place. And that's why when I mentioned in the beginning, it is our turn. And it's not just simply our turn for, to be on platforms for everyone to see. It's our turn to reap the benefits of what the enemy stole from us. So we are literally getting it back. And for me, it doesn't always have to be monetary, right? I just needed peace. I needed clarity. I needed understanding. I needed to accept Jeri, right?
Yeah.
Like I needed to be able to look in the mirror and be like, I don't have to look like this. I don't have to look like that. This is who I am. Like I got a gap. Like I like to wear my hair short. I like to wear my chucks. Like I sometimes I really want to be a girly girl, and then sometimes I want to go what. Like it's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
It's okay. And then sometimes I want to rock out to, what they call like my rock white girl music. My sister says all the time, like there's so many sides of me, but I had to literally suffer to see me. And now I will never let anybody steal that from me. Like
Yeah.
you can't disturb my peace. I will meet new people, meet new dudes. Listen, if you coming in here and you trying to like disturb my peace, I'm
That.
sorry, brother. You
That.
gotta go. Like
No, do the
block.
do the bop bop. Do that again.
Bop, 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 gotta go. Like
Crazy. Crazy. Oh my God, y'all. This really it
oh,
has
yes.
been good. Because we definitely, like you said, it's so much that we've learned and coming more so into the accepting. Because I know one of the things I definitely was struggling with my call, even after being in God for so long, I still was struggling. Like, nah, it cannot be that. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, we were, being on a journey and being encouraged. It was even a conversation where, I told Jeri, I was talking to her because I was like, girl, you've been in church your whole life. You know how church politics, procedures. I was like, I don't know nothing about none of that. Like, I don't know it. That ain't my thing. Like, that's not my stilo. But even still, even in that, is you was just encouraging me how um, God would wanted to use me, and I know I probably said this to you before, but I'll say it again. Even as a friend, and your love and acceptance, not looking at me as a competition, that was another
Mm-hmm.
thing that allowed me to grow in God, where I could minister to you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's like, yeah, you've been in church your whole life, and me, I found God for real, like 2009. I want to say, I think it's when I like
Mm-hmm.
submitted it was for real. Um, and the funny thing is, my mom's birthday just passed, and that's when I said, the anniversary came up July 5th on my mom's birthday. Is when I surrendered and gave my life back to Christ. But that was
Mm.
like July 5th. I want to say 2009. I gave my life back to God, and so even me, however that long ago that was, like I don't know, 14, 13 years ago. So my 13 years to your being in Christ your whole life, and literally I'm ministering to you, and you like, yeah, yeah, like like, how nigga, how I know more than you, not knowing more than you, but how you allowing me to be
Yeah.
you, and you've been, but because it don't, time don't got nothing to do with it, and sometimes people will make that a thing, and so I even see in that where I was able to grow and like, no, Lord, like Browniesha, the Lord really wants to use you. But
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
was healing me. It was God loving me, and literally God loving the hell out of me, y'all. People be
Yes.
like, I love the hell out of you. No, God literally loved the hell out of me. I don't respond to stuff the way I
Woo.
used to no more. I don't, stuff can't get up under my skin no more. I just had to share with Jeri, people that come up against me, I'm not go fight you. I'm gonna pray for you, and I will call you out to pray for you right
Yes.
there, because I don't have time. Like, I know the devices of the enemy, so I don't let them get to me now. Like, I really will pray for you, and you probably trying to haul off trying to fight me, and I know that that's God, because
Yeah.
that's not even my background. Like, you could be really trying to do something bald face foolish in my face, and I'm gonna be like, can I pray for you? And I
Yeah.
know that it took God to heal me, because I don't take it personal, because I know
Yeah.
it has absolutely nothing to do with me, but
That's
it has
right.
everything to do with the people outside of me, right? It
Yeah.
had like and God healing me, and in His love, I was able to see different, y'all. I don't even, I'll be honest, I was in friendships where gossiping was the thing, and I remember when I was like, that just tasted nasty. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about
Yep.
people. Like, I ain't finna talk about the, like, what do I get out about talking about the next person? And so I was being I mean, God had snatched me up out of so many places. I told him, I said, by the time you get through with me, there will be nothing left. There ain't gonna be
Yep.
nobody left after you didn't got done. But I am grateful that He loved me through it, because
Yeah.
God is not like man. He's not like people. He don't
No.
give up on us. He don't throw us away when we don't do what he want us to do. Right? He is such
Right.
a giving God. He is such a loving God, and we came here tonight just to show you to attest. Maybe somebody looking at Jeri talk about how she was drinking and she was lived in homosexuality, and they turning up their nose in judgment. But the same God loved her through
Woo.
it,
That's
brought her
right.
out of it. Me, I was talking about how I went to my ex house and I was in his bed or whatever, all these different things that I did. And the same God loved me through it. He told me, he said, I ain't come to condemn you, but you should be tired. You should be tired
Yeah.
of doing this. And that's what God's love look like. Now, don't get me wrong as a parent, because I'm a parent. I chastise my children. I'm going to check you. I'm going to tell you
Yes.
what's wrong, but I'm going to love you through it. Because half of the stuff we're ignorant to what was really going on. And so
Yes.
God is not going to come and be brutal to you when he even understands how you got there. He he understands how you got in a broken relationship because
Yes.
from that and happened 10 years ago. So he's not
Yes.
coming to beat you up. He's coming to love you through it. Like, daughter, I know. Just get up and keep
Yes.
going. Just get up and keep going. And like I said, I was in that bad relationship because I wanted to be loved, and I thought somebody had finally seen me. They finally seen my little butt, right? And that wasn't what that was. And
No.
God even told me with that, I was like, oh, just, he said, you have to heal where you was hurt. And I was like, I got
Woo.
to look these people in the face.
Yes.
I got to face the very thing that hurt me. Like, I got to stand here and let you heal me in the face of my enemy. And he was like,
Yes.
absolutely, yeah. And literally, when I walked away from that bad relationship, I wasn't in tears. I wasn't getting drunk. I wasn't nothing.
Mhm.
Maybe I walked that way with my head high, and
Yes.
I was laughing. I
Yeah.
think I probably was cracking the joke like, "Hey, bro, I ain't doing that." Like,
Nope.
I went back saying like, "I'm not tolerating this. I'm not tolerating that." And at first, I wasn't defending myself. I wasn't speaking up for myself. I was just letting whatever the wind was go blow, the wind was go blow, and I was going to deal. But I learned how to take what's for me and leave the rest on the table. And I
Yeah.
have to, I'm gonna say this lastly, and Jerry, if you want to say something after this, Jesus Christ hung on the cross. He was our sacrificial offering. He
Yes.
died for us. So I say that to say that stop putting yourself in situations that you got to go and you got to
Yeah.
die on the cross. He already has died for you. And what I'm saying this with clarity, I'm saying to you, stop allowing yourself to be in bad friendships, bad relationships,
Hmm.
bad anything, all that toxic stuff, and you just gotta suffer through. That's not God. That is not God.
Woo.
Tell us to forgive. He absolutely do. We are to forgive those that
Yes.
despitefully use us. We are to love our neighbors, yes, but we do not have to allow ourselves to continuously coexist in spaces that people that don't want to change. We want more change for them than they want for ourselves. And God loves us enough that He will even allow us to love people from a distance. Like
Yes.
He give us he give us the choice. Like sometimes you people be like, well, I gotta pray about it, and God like, you know me enough to know the yeses and the nos. Now there are
Hmm.
some things you do have to go before God, but some of the stuff off the like just off top, it's a flat no
Yeah.
or yes. So I just really wanted to encourage some people. We've been through some things and we made choices to stay there. It wasn't God that let us stay. Now, my one situation, he did tell me, he was like, he wasn't removing me until I learned how to speak up for myself. It wasn't
Yes.
that he was trying to teach me something in that thing, but God wasn't just okay that this person was mishandling me, was taking it. He wasn't okay with that, but I had to learn something because what I learned in that, believe me, honey, boo, child, I bet you it won't happen again.
Yes.
And it won't happen again, not just in the relationships romantically, but I've even learned how to manage friendships. I'm not tolerating nothing because you was hurt. I've been hurt too, and I had to take the responsibility that I have
Yes.
to go do the work. I mean, Jeri, even in our friendships, because we've been hurt by other people, it's sometimes we even have to have the conversation like, no, Like
Yes.
that's not what this is. And being honest with one another. I think I don't know
Right.
if Tam is still on here, but I had to have a conversation with Tam, and I would never have these conversations in my past life. But I was like, girl, I was telling her, I said something happened. I'll even say it, and we can leave from there. Tam had Me and Tam was set up. We were supposed to go out. She was like, "Sis, I want to hang out with you." Da 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 da. So I was go have one of my siblings watch my brother. I mean, watch Ricky, but it ended up that nobody was able to watch Ricky. So I had to call Tam and be like, you know what? I ain't gonna even be able to go hang out with you. But a part of me felt shame, embarrassment,
Mm.
because I feel like I done pumped her up to do all this, and now I gotta go to her and tell her that I can't go. So I was gonna try to avoid her too. And God told me, He said, Browniesha, you gotta be okay that your life is not like everybody else's. And it's
Yes.
not. I have a special need kid. Some people can pack up their stuff and go when they freely please. I can't do that. Like you got your kids. So if you ain't got your family to watch them while you can't do it, and you got to be okay with that. But I had to have the hard conversation with her and tell her, like, girl, why did I feel shameful about that? Why did I feel embarrassed that I couldn't do what you were doing? Like, if like it was something that I was trying to do bad. And can I tell you, and it even happened with you, when I was able to go to her and have what I would consider the hard conversation, I so promise you, it felt like her response was like, sis, like, no worries. Like I get
Mm-hmm.
something was built there. It was like it made the friendship even stronger. Like, bro, like it ain't even what I made it out to be, right?
Yes.
It wasn't. But that took God healing me and God showing me that I had to respond differently.
Yes.
And the other time I would tuck my tail, I'll be mad, I'll be in shame, I'll bottle it in. But no, I had the hard conversation. And now that I know that I can have them, I think people probably tired of me coming to them with my stuff now. I'm like, yeah, we need to talk. I need to tell you, yeah, because I really didn't like how that felt. And it's not to even cause a riffraff, but it's really establishing relationship with people,
Yes.
and you even finding out the right people for your circle. Because if you can't have those kind of conversations with people,
That's
I'm gonna
right.
be frank, you don't need them around you. Like,
No.
and if you and then you ain't gotta throw them to the trash, but they ain't in the inner circle. We go put them in the outer circle.
Yeah.
They're going to overflow room, but they can go in the overflow room. So I'm gonna let you have the floor
That
before.
outer circle, they go in that outer circle.
I mean, because you might have to deal with them on occasions. You
Yep.
might can't deal with them. It might be so much that you can share with them. Because if you want to be frank, there's some friends you can't tell everything to, and
No.
that's not making you bad nor them bad. But it's just certain stuff that you can't tolerate. Like I'm really not the friend that you come tell that somebody like trying to do something bad to you. Because my first thought probably not be pray for them. It
Yeah.
probably be where they at, so we
Yep.
can lay
In our
hands.
conversation earlier, that's why I was like, wait, what? Like, what happened?
Oh,
Where are they at?
right. So yeah, I'm gonna let you say something, and then we can close it out. Oh, we went over, but okay.
Today was really good. And like she said, it's like y'all got to be like a fly on the wall. This is literally how our conversations go. We do dig a little bit deeper, some stuff. But be encouraged on today. I was trying to look on Facebook like who was on, but the Lord kept saying D. I just see a D. It's a woman, it's a D. Let
Didi,
him hold your hand. Oh, D is on.
Didi on there.
Oh, Dee Dee's on there. Dee Dee we talked about friendships a lot, and now it's for Dee Dee. That the Lord is navigating you with friendships. And so allow him to hold your hand in this process, because you're finding out who's for you and who isn't for you. So let him hold you through that, and let him hold your hand. And us having the conversation about friends, that segment was just for you, so that you can understand how to now navigate. And that's because God loves you so much, and he loves us all. But what I love about him is that he can love me so much, and love you so much, and love them. So, he loves us all the same. And he can be right here with Jeri, right there with Browniesha, right there with Dee, right there with Barbara. He'll be right there with us all at the same time, holding our hand and guiding us through. So suffer well, suffer strong. Just go through the process. You mentioned it before that you had to face that. And the recent thing that I went through, I had to face it too, because I had to overcome the fear of that person navigating or trying to dictate my life, my child's life. And so, in that, know that God loves you. We demonize a lot of things, and it's not always a demon, a imp, a witch, a warlock, Satan himself. Sometimes it's really God trying to get something out of us. I'll leave you with this. It's one thing to be juiced, right? To be pressed, but it's another thing to be crushed. And so sometimes we have to be crushed so hard that when you get whatever is out, if there is no more room for it to come back. It's gone, it's crushed, it's expelled completely. So there is no place for it to come back. So I love y'all. Thank you for the opportunity, Browniesha, to be able to give them a glimpse into our everyday, every other day
Listen,
conversations.
y'all don't be trying to get on our phone calls now. Be like, hey, put me on three way, because
Yeah.
no, we are going to set some things up. It's been so much crazy stuff, but we are going to set some things up. But I'm trying to get in on our conversation. But I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure I did want to highlight some people. We did have Tam on tonight. We had Shardell.
Hey, Chardell girl.
We had Donisha that said she was like, she loves the energy. And y'all already know we shout out my mom, talking about the
Yeah.
good stepping in. And she was like, she's blessed and fortunate to have made it to 59.
Woo.
Yeah, 59 years old. I mean, next year she the big 60. I don't know
Yeah.
how she will celebrate that, y'all, because the 60 said Crips, and my mom is a I really don't know how my mama is going to celebrate that. But Chardell was saying how she loved it, and tonight Dee Dee was so interesting is on Facebook. Dee Dee name is just D, and so for you to say
Oh,
that and not being able to
yeah.
see. And she was saying how none of us have arrived. Gil, we want to shout you out and thank you for tuning in again. I know it's been a couple of times that you've been on here. My mom had even stated like my worst enemy, she's been battling with herself but God. And she said spiritual warfare is real. Dee Dee was yelling like, "Teach, woman of God." We
Yeah.
have Mia get on here tonight. I already said Jason. I definitely want to make sure that I shouted you guys out. And Mia said that you have to feel the feels. And I think feeling the feels is one of the hardest things, because
Yeah.
when you have to feel through the stuff that you probably disassociated and avoided, like that is a whole nother conversation within itself.
Yes.
So thank you, Lisa, for coming on tonight. And then I had read where Tam said she had to she put her workout video on mute. Then my mom stated, she said, mothering is not easy, period, even when it's a two parent home. And Tam talks, she said, I you have to have the maintenance package. That was something that you said. And so I'm just glad to have been on here. Danisha said, I see I was here tonight for a reason. I definitely received a message. We're glad that each and every one of you were able to get on here. We have Lauren um, Lauren says, speak. I'm learning to be okay with my situation. Divorce, everyone in your life is not for you. Amen.
Amen.
And
That's
while
right.
I'm here, if anybody know me outside of being a servant of God and just all things business, I don't know if Lauren is still on here, but if you guys are looking for she just like launched her business of doing house cleaning, and so she did. I think
Nice.
last week. So if you guys are looking for someone to come in and clean up your home, like I worked with Lauren for some years. Like that. Actually, the funny thing is, for my 30th birthday, Lauren bought me my birthday cake.
Hey.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago, being that I'm about to be 40, praise the Lord. But yeah, you guys make sure you support Lauren. Oh, she said she's still there. So yeah, if any of you guys are looking to get your house clean, because I know I'm about to set up an appointment soon. Um, Definitely so connect with her. Follow her. I'm pretty sure her business page will be on there. Dee Dee says she love us. You this girl talking about now Dee Dee talking about y'all call me. So Dee Dee wanna, you already know you on the three-way, ma'am.
Yeah.
You know you on a three-way, and that's just confirmation, because we talk about doing a safe place, which is something we're doing this weekend, ladies. And it, remember how God has placed it to be me, you, and Dee Dee that kind of like orchestrates.
Yes.
So, girl, don't worry, Jerry. Why my mama gonna tell my Sue Whoop style, but classy? This lady is crazy. I just
I
love
love
each
you,
and
Miss
every one.
Barbara.
Listen, tell somebody about a safe place. If you have not shared, make sure
Yes.
you share. Share this podcast. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. Make sure you go type in Facebook is the Healing Clinic. Instagram is the Healing Clinic Podcast, as well as YouTube is the Healing Clinic Podcast. You are welcome, Quisha. If you want to come back um, and listen to the replay while I'm talking, you guys. Our next show is Monday, August the 5th. And on Monday, August the 5th, we are going to have her name on here is Shay Clarkson, but I call her I call her Quisha. So I'm just making it clear. And so August 5th, we're going to talk about healing after addiction. Quisha has an amazing
Mm,
story to share.
nice.
She's my co-author. She's a part of the Heal Woman book. And she my niece because I used to date her uncle. It's the truth, okay, let's be clear, because her uncle not old or anything like that, but let's be clear. But no, so Quisha will be on August the 5th to talk about healing after addiction. It's definitely is something that she said you were so annoying. It's definitely something I want you guys to tune in. Tell somebody. I'm telling y'all, share this. I believe someone will be blessed by this. You guys said that you were blessed. There's so much feedback. I think tonight we've got our most listeners. So tell somebody about the Healing Clinic. Tell them to follow us, follow us, follow us. We're going to do some amazing things. And see, y'all, she said, Auntie, yes, I'll be here for sure. She don't get it twisted, y'all. Like don't get it twisted. It's going to be very impactful. It's amazing stories that we'll share. I won't share tonight, but I know that me talking about running from the call. I thank God that even Jerry, I told you, you know how the enemy would keep you in bondage. Uh,
Yes.
because there are people that are following you or looking up to you, and Aquisha was one that God was using me to lead back to you, to lead her back to Him. And so I kept, I thank God that I stayed the course, even though I wasn't quite sure what I was doing
Mm-hmm.
and afraid. I thank God that I stayed the course. And so I'm glad for that, because now she loved God, like she's on fire for God, like
Yes.
running for Him. And so yeah, and Gail definitely, I will remind you. Gail says she has a story too. She definitely does. And so we go work these things out, because I want people to be able to share their story. It's somebody standing next to you. It's somebody living next door to you. It's somebody walking by you in the store that has a story that you not heard about.
Right.
So I want to be that person as God is leading me to bring um, the people on. And so Quisha will be on August 5th. You follow me, make sure you gonna get. I mean, I'm gonna mark it, and I ain't gonna let you forget Yale anyway. So
Yeah.
y'all just make sure y'all tune in. Again, tell somebody about the Healing Clinic. Quisha said he works miracles, and he did. If it had not been for the miracles, I don't think anybody would be commenting in this section, and us two definitely wouldn't be on this screen, right? And so
Right.
I love you guys. We absolutely love your feedback. If you want to share more, go to the Healing Clinic Facebook page and leave a testimony there, and tell us of how this show has truly been a blessing to your life. So you guys have an amazing night. I love y'all, and I will see you soon.